Hello everyone, in this video we're going to learn about Unity's physics system. To be honest, not physics system, but Unity's collision and Unity's triggers. Now those are part of physics system, so yes, we're learning physics systems too. Now to make things collide with things, we need the thing that will collide. Now this is going to be our thing that is going to be collide. This is a simple sphere. Let's put it just right here, and let's give it our white material, because white is cool. See, it looks quite cool. Okay, now to make collision or triggers, you will need your either collision object or the object that is going to collide with other colliders needs to have trigger on it. Like this thing is going to collide with this ground collider. Now either this ground collider or this collider needs to have rigid body on it or physics on it to make collider and collision work. Now on our sphere we're going to put rigid body so that it reacts to physics and collides. Now to make collision work, we're going to we need to create a let's say trigger. Now this sphere collider can work as a trigger, but if I make it is trigger and hit play, it will just simply go out. Do not care about this collider, it will just go out. So what we can do, we can keep this collider as it is, and then we can copy this collider, and then we can paste this collider. This will create a collider as same as the first collider that we had. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this collider's radius, or make this collider a little bit big, as if not, that's too big, that's also too big. Yes, 0.51 thing will be quite good. Okay, now on here we have this first layer of collider, and then the second layer of collider. Now the second layer of collider is the original collider, but the first layer of collider is our trigger collider. Now just click on this is trigger and it will be triggered. Now to actually debug this collider, I'm going to create a simple script. I'm going to call it debug collision. Did I? No, I didn't misspell. My English is bad. It's really very bad. So if I do any mistake, forgive me. Now on here, I can put. No, we do not need any public things. On here, we're going to create a on trigger enter function. Now this function is going to take our collider's trigger and put its data on our other here. And on here we will say if it collides with anything, we're going to print the object name it collided with. We're going to say, oh no, it's triggered with. So we're going to say triggered with plus other dot name. Awesome. Let's hit play and let's see if it does collide. And this print is going to give us information on this console panel. So let's come on console panel, and also let's not forget we have to attach this script to our sphere that we have just made. Just add component, and then it is going to be debug collision, and let's hit play. And as you can see, as this collider trigger goes on this thing or meets this ground collider, it says triggered with ground. If there was something else on our scene that we can collide with, it would say it triggered with that object too. Okay, now that's what we have with our on trigger. Let's do on collision too. Now just remember, for simple triggers, one of the colliders needs to have, let's say, a collider with is trigger on it and a rigid body on it to make it collide with things. Now let's do collision too. Now for that, I'm going to disable this second sphere collider that we have, which is a trigger, and then on here I'm just going to create an on collision enter. On here it will say it will take the collision data, and then it will put this collision data on this collision parameter so that we can do things. Now for now here we are not going to use that collision data either. We're just going to we're going to use this collision data's name just like before. So we can print collided with we need a space here to make it look beautiful, and then other dot name. Oh, it won't just take the other dot name. This is completely raw data. We first have to take there's no other, there's collision. We first have to take the collision's game object and then collision's name. Okay, now let's hit play and let's see if it collides. And as you can see, as it drops, it collides with our ground. Awesome. Now let's look at the that's how you do the collision collision of other objects too. Just you need a collider and a rigid body in one of the either object. Awesome. Now let's look at a different or difficult situation. Like I have this character controller driven controller here. It does not react to physics, it does not react to collision, but we want to have, let's say, there we go, it does not actually react to collision and physics at all, but we want this thing to have let's say trigger with certain things, or make this thing actually viable to trigger with objects, right? Now to do that, we're going to do the same process that we have done to our sphere, but a little bit differently. Now this thing is actually set up, so let's remove the component that I have set up. Now this is the character controller, and this is a simple movement script I have attached to it to make it move. It's too simple. Why 100 feels so small? Why it is so small suddenly? Never mind. Okay, on here, to make this thing react to colliders, we're going to put a collider on it. Now this thing is a capsule, so I'm going to put a capsule collider on it. Capsule collider, there you go. Now this outer layer is our capsule collider. Now this thing will collide with our ground, so let me make it a little bit bigger on that side. If you feel a little bit more cheeky, you can make it bigger on both sides. Okay, looks like I'm a bit too cheeky. And on here, this collider will give you issues if you just use it with character controller. So just make it is trigger and it will not make any issues. And then to make it let's say detect collision, we need rigid body on it too. Now for some cases, rigid body will not work with our character controller. Now let's actually ignore those situations, come here and disable use gravity and make the rigid body kinetic or kinematic. If you do that and if you hit play, we have to put the debug collision too, so that we can take collision information. Okay, now with the trigger done and the rigid body done, if I put the debug collision and hit play, you will see that this capsule will collide with things. Now this capsule is colliding with capsule too. This is because this capsule is colliding with, I don't know how it is colliding with itself, but as you can see, it is colliding with our ground too. So that is how you can actually make things collide if you don't want the collider to work and if you don't want the rigid body to work. Okay, so this was a little bit difficult situation. I don't know if any other difficult situation you're going to face other than this one. So I think this is going to be it for today's video. Thanks to the friend who suggested me to create this video, if this video was helpful to you. And this is going to be it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more contents like this one, and I will be seeing you on the next video.